Ships ahoy, this is Admiral. Last night, as I was trying to barbecue a wild boar at my desert campsite, I realized there was no wood nearby for starting a fire. Luckily, there were some Byzantine merchants traveling through the area who, after being saved from a handful of marauding thugs, were willing to share with me the closely guarded secret of Greek fire. Not only did I put that knowledge to good use to create a mouth-watering Singularis porcus en flambe that would have made Obelix jump for joy, but I also came to realize the underappreciated military potential of this devastating technology, which is what I'm going to show you today, and why this tech can look crazy good. But let's keep that as our little secret so that it doesn't get nerfed. We'll start off with the Bombard tower test. Let's say I'm playing Britons against Spanish, and I've managed to get a death ball of 60 of my super arbs, and I'm going into the enemy base to get some juicy villager snipes. There are 5 Bombard towers guarding the way, which is a bit surprising, but I won't mind tanking some moderate damage if I can get in and absolutely wreck his economy. Halfway in, I see a castle as well, and think better of my bold strategy, deciding to preserve my numbers in retreat and wait for siege and other backup. Ultimately, this is a significant misplay by me, as I've lost a little over half my army, but the survivors can live and learn and are still a force to be reckoned with. Repeating the test against Byzantines, let's see what happens. This is exactly the same test as before, with the units patrolled in on no attack, but this time against Bombard towers affected by Greek fire. As you can see, my army is completely devastated, burnt to a crisp by the furious flames of Greek fire. So already on our first test, Greek fire is looking pretty amazing. But let's move on to fire ships to see whether this power-up holds true for them as well. This is just a simple patrol test between 2 groups of 50 fast fire ships. I'm in green as Byzantines with Greek fire researched, and let's see what happens. As you can see, this fight is a complete stomp, total domination.
Total and brutal domination in this one.
I lose less than half of my ships with minimal damage to the survivors, and completely sink the entire enemy navy. But that's just because of the Byzantine civ bonus of additional attack speed, right? Nope, the other player is Byzantines as well, in post-Imperial Age, but with the extra range of Greek fire removed with the trigger. So call me crazy, but this tech is looking pretty insane. On land, it has Bombard towers potentially becoming twice as lethal to obliterate armies trying to enter your base, and on water it makes enemy Byzantine fires without this tech, otherwise arguably the best fire ships in the game, look like complete garbage. But there's one more unit that this technology affects, namely the Dromon, so let's see if this oppressive pattern holds up here as well. Greek fire expands the blast radius from 0.8 to 1, like a milder version of torsion engines for the Dromon, allowing it to destroy bunched up units more quickly. It also sinks bunched up or even normally spaced ships faster, and this is on top of Byzantine Dromons, like fire ships, already attacking faster as a free civ bonus. While this effect isn't that crazy by itself, it's just the flaming cherry on top of the overpowered lava cake that is the Greek fire technology. But remember that the cake itself is baked with a batter of ballistically burning Bombard bastion blasts, and blistering fast fire frosting that turns your foe's fleet into fish food. Put it all together and we have a recipe for a ridiculous repast of revenge that's best served hot. Or at least reheated.
But it can be easily reheated in the microwave of evil!
We could do some further investigations, but why bother? I've seen enough to be assured that this technology is sleeper OP. And as long as we all keep quiet, perhaps it can stay that way. After all, loose lips sink ships, so let's keep this information below decks for the sake of Byzantine fans. Alright, serious time. I mean, kind of. It is just a game after all. But obviously these tests have been one-sided, and questionable as to how well they simulate likely in-game situations. Although everything I've shown you is correct given the circumstances.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
In truth, this is a bit of a cautionary tale against drawing sweeping conclusions based on limited, unrealistic, or even biased testing. And it's a bit of a parody of a video that you may have seen, as I did, a couple weeks ago on the AoE2 subreddit. That video presented the complete opposite narrative about Greek fire, framing it as totally useless and even counterproductive on the basis that fire ships are a bit less accurate at longer range, which has some truth to it. But like some of my tests here, the flagship test of that video was rather silly, in showing an unrealistic situation where galleons outmassed fire ships 3-1 in numbers and total resources, yet weren't microed at all. Both of those factors, mass and micro, are many times more important in deciding that fight than whether a trivial few percentage points of damage were lost to ranged inaccuracy. Just as in my video, good decision making and unit control with my arbalesters, among other things, is far more worthy of emphasis than the dramatic and devastating situation I might encounter if I made a series of easily avoidable misplays by exposing my squishy ranged units to prolonged fire from dense defensive buildings. So as you might expect, the whole truth about Greek fire is to be found somewhere in the synthesis of these two extremes, with all other relevant information. So perhaps a more even-handed video on that topic is in order. But this is your occasional reminder to take scenario editor tests, including mine, with a grain or barrel of salt, rum, or the preservative of your choice. But more especially so when there is a failure to micro-ranged units, or when critical details, matchups, or context relevant to the value of a unit or technology are left out. After all, we've been spoiled by Spirit of the Law setting the standard for superior AoE 2 science, so we should similarly seek to supersede shallow sensationalism by solely showcasing the most sensible scenarios. Then again, it's the internet, so you get what you get. But let me know if you'd want a more balanced discussion of this technology. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. That's all for today, till next time.